Okay, so you just need me to sit here, wait for him to get here to keep the seat warm. You don't want me to do anything, iconic. You don't want me to, just sit here and keep your seat warm. Okay, I can do that. I could do other things, I could say, welcome to the Bob Boyle Media Channel, or you're going to learn about face swapping. I could do, no, you just want me, okay, I'll just sit here then.
Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and Roop Unleashed is still another pro-level face swapper that has been around for a little bit of time. Roop, in its original form, I checked out and I wasn't that impressed with it, and one of the complaints that it had back then was that it was censored. I don't know why people were complaining about that. I mean, why do they need anything uncensored when it comes to face swapping? In any case, Roop Unleashed is uncensored, and it also has a couple of other features that people are clamoring for, like the ability to do batch jobs and multiple faces in one video, and the newest version of Roop Unleashed purports to do all of those things. And when I went to go try it, I couldn't figure out how the heck to do it. No videos at the time of this recording were available to show you exactly step by step how to do it. So my friends, I took it upon myself to figure it out on my own, and I did, and now I'm going to show you how to do it. And this will also act as an introduction to Roop Unleashed for those of you who have no freaking clue what face swapping is all about and who Roop is. As I mentioned, Roop is free and it is open source, and it doesn't actually require that much GPU power, although it will benefit from it. If you'd like to download it and run it locally, at the end of this video, I will briefly show you how to do that. But thanks to our regular sponsor, Mimic PC, you can also try this out remotely and not have to use any of your own resources or have any kind of powerful computer. Mimic PC is a regular sponsor of this channel because they give access to these high-end AI apps that people with maybe lower-end GPUs or just don't want to clutter their hard drive space with maybe testing out some of this stuff can access for just pennies as compared to investing in a full GPU or one of these expensive computers. I will leave links to everything in the description below, but it is free to sign up with Mimic PC, and as I record this, they're giving you 50 free gigabytes of storage just for joining their Discord, and they're also running a 60% off sale, and details on that will be at the other end of the link in the description as well. Once you've got your account set up for Mimic PC, it's time to add Roop Unleashed as an app. Couldn't be simpler. You just click Add New App, and there it is, Roop Unleashed. And you just click that button there, and then you're going to click on Get Started. This is the same process for all these apps over here on Mimic. You're going to choose the GPU you like. I generally will go for a large Pro, and then you click Create and Start, and in 2 or 3 minutes you have your own machine. You'll see I have numerous machines here running various apps that I have installed here, and they aren't cluttering up my hard drive. And in many cases, I can use a faster GPU to do things like train models. So I'm just going to go to my Roop Unleashed machine and click on Operate. I will make sure that I have automatic extension on just so it doesn't time out accidentally when I'm in the middle of making this video for you, and click on Operate. This setup time could be a couple of minutes, but you're not charged for any of that time. Here's what you're going to learn to do today: the basic face swap and the various settings you need to get the best results. And we're going to show you an example of how to de-age someone using this technology in a video. And I'm going to show you how to get even better results by creating face sets, which are composed of multiple angles of a face, giving you even better accuracy. But then we're going to get into the mystery stuff, the batch job. How can you run more than one job at one time? And what about multiple faces? If you have 2 people in a video and if you want to swap out one or both of their faces, how can you do that? Can you do that in one pass? Yes, you can, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Then we're going to take a quick look at the live cam, which is only going to be available for those of you who do a local install because you don't have a webcam over on Mimic PC, do you? And then we're going to wrap it up with how to install this locally. Let's get going. Once it opens up, the first thing you're going to want to do is close off this area. It's just taking up valuable real estate, and it confuses the issue over here. This side is for input, the things that are going in, like the faces that you want to swap into a video, and these are for output, the target faces, the faces that are going to get swapped out, and the videos on which they're going to get swapped. Down here you have various settings for finding the correct faces and some post-processing for sharpening the image, and down here you'll see your results. So let's just go through it. I prepared a couple of directories for some quick demonstrations here. It can be as simple as this. You just drag one image in, that's the face you want to switch into a video, then that face will appear up here. Now I can continue to add images, but we're going to get to that. Let's keep it simple for now. Then I'll just choose a target video and drag it right here, and the preview of that appears right here. A best practice here is to make sure that even though we're just using one face, we make it clear that it's this face we want. So we're going to click Use Face from this frame. So now this is our target face, and this is our input face, and if we want to see that preview, we're going to click Face Swap Frames right now, And in just mere seconds after it loads in the initial face swapping model, which takes a little longer that first time, now you've got the swapped in face. We can scroll through the video frames to check it out in different places, and we can see that it's doing a good job of sticking to the face. It may be hard to tell right here, and there's no real good way to zoom in here, but the resolution on these initial swaps is not that great, and that's why you would want to roll down here to select post-processing and choose the face restoration technology of your choice. I usually go between GFP-GAN or Restore Former++, which I actually think is a little faster, so for this example I'll use it. And in most cases I want to dial this down to about 50% or so and then adjust from there. Then we can refresh again, and although it might be hard to tell, the restoration has taken place. Let's see if we can get to a place where she's a little closer up. Okay, there we go, that's better. Now this is also a fairly long clip for this demonstration, so you can actually choose a segment of the video that you want to render. You don't have to do a face swap for the whole thing. I just want to find a place where it's kind of interesting. It starts far away. We'll start there, and I'll just say set as start. And then I'll have it in maybe there, because that will have already shown the close-up and all that stuff. And then it will just be a few frames. The other setting I like to generally change is the subsample upscale, and I like to change that to 512 because that's what I learned to do. I love the results, so now I'm telling you to do it. If you want to try the other ones, be my guest. We don't need to change anything else. Let's click on Start, and the process will begin. If you want to track that, here on Mimic, you can click over here and open up this window and go to Logs, and it will update with what is going on here. And you'll see the progress is right now, it's just starting some initial processing. Once it kicks in, this will go a lot faster. The first time you run just about any of these processes in the program, they take a little longer because various things are loading. But once that's done and you're doing multiple jobs, it goes a lot faster. So now you can see that the process has begun, and it gives you a rough estimate of the countdown, about 1 minute and 20 seconds or so for this to be done. Now, I personally don't recommend doing any other things over here while this process is running. I don't know that it's supposed to work one way or the other, but I've had it happen where if I make some changes or preview my next video, it will stop this process. So just be patient, and if you want to do more at a time, then you're going to stick around to learn how to do batch processing. And when it's finished, you can scroll down and see the final result down here and just click play. I might want to actually up the restoration a little bit more to maybe 60% or something, just to make that a little bit sharper. Now you can load other faces in here to try them. So if I was, for example, to load in this picture, and click there, then it will refresh with that face instead. And then this time I will up this back up to its default value of about 0.65. Let's just take a refresh here and see if we can see a noticeable difference. So there's the Meryl Streep version. As I said at the beginning, this is an uncensored program. You can create what you want to out of it. I'm not going to be demonstrating any of that today. This is about as not suitable for work as it's ever going to get on this channel. When you're done with the render, you can click on the download button here, or you can go to your file section over here, and everything you do will be in the output folder, which brings up an important point. In the settings, what I recommend is to uncheck this clear output folder before each run, unless you're definitely going to remember to download things as you create them. Otherwise, every time you do a new run, everything you've created in your output folder will be deleted. I'll generally like to uncheck that so everything will just stay there, because sometimes I do forget things. Like, what was I doing? Oh yeah. Here's a cool trick to de-age somebody. Let's take a target video of this very old person right here. Clearly this man has seen better days. Luckily, we happen to have this picture of this same man from 2002. So let's see if we can bring back that youthful appearance. I'm just going to drag this over here to the source images. I'm going to click the use face from this frame and click that just to make sure. I'll click refresh, and except for the facial hair, we've got the younger version of me. Okay, so you just need me to sit here, wait for him to get here, just keep the seat warm. You don't want me to do anything, iconic. Okay, so far everything I've showed you is using one face, but you can actually create something called a face set, which instead of working with just one image, actually takes into account several images with different angles, so you get a more accurate representation of the face. Let's show you how to do that. To create a face set, we're going to go under Face Management, and for this example, we're going to scroll down to this area here. I have a folder here of 8 images of my friend Darcy, who I featured in my last video, and I will just drag all of those right here. And down here is the collection of everything that is in the face set. I could continue to add other pictures of her, or if I wanted to create a whole different person by blending different faces, I could do that too. Right now, I want it to be Darcy on the other side of this. And you can see that I've got various angles here represented, and I'm going to click on Create and Update Face Set file. That is going to be created in your Outputs folder, so you're going to open this up over here, and if it's not showing, you're just going to click this refresh button here. Down at the bottom, you'll see faceset.fsz. You're going to want to download that to be able to use it later, because this will be overwritten if you leave it in the Output folder. So let's just click the three dots here, click on Download. I actually created a FaceSets folder in my Roop Unleashed directory so that I could have a place to save them. You could save them anywhere you'd like. I'm going to give it a proper name because it is Darcy. I'm going to call it Darcy. Save that, and now it is ready to use in a face swap. So let's go do it. We're going to go over here back to the face swap tab, and instead of just uploading one single image, I'm going to close this up, and I'm just going to drag that face set file down in there, and you can see it's got a representative image up there. And now let's choose a video, and there's the replacement using a face set. Let's just set a start and stop time because it's a rather long video. We'll get her just as she's going under the water, set as end, and do that one. Actually, this is a good time to show you that we can stop a process once we've started it when we realize we didn't do something we meant to do, which was to demonstrate the batch feature. So instead of just doing this one at this go round, let's start over, and we're going to create a batch job. And the way that we're going to do that is to drag multiple files into this area here. You can drag as many as you want. I'm just going to do two just to show you how it's done. We're going to choose this video, and we're going to drag them into the target area. Now we have the two videos in, and now let's choose the faces that we want to swap in. We'll bring in Darcy's face set, and then we'll just bring in another single image, drop it in, and it will be added up here. Let's just start with this top video here. We're going to click on Use Face from this frame, and there it is. So we're going to just click on it there. Now the process I'm going to show you may not be the textbook way to do it, but I couldn't find a textbook way to do it, and this way works. So if all else fails, just follow my method. I'm going to choose the face I want swapped in, and I'm going to click on where it says move to the left. Just bring it all the way over to the left. This becomes way more important when you're doing multiple faces. You probably don't have to do that step in just these batch files where there's one face, but this is my process. You can try it on your own. So now we've got that face defined for this clip. Now we're going to move on to the second one just by clicking it down here in the target files. We're going to click on Use Face from this frame. We're going to choose that face, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Darcy's face. I'm going to move her over to the left, but also make sure that the face I want to swap is in the same position, that is the far left. Again, this becomes more important when you're doing multiple faces, but this is a good practice to get into. I move this over to the left. Now we also need to move this image over to the left, but all these buttons are kind of clumped up together because I don't have the screen fully expanded. So I'm going to expand the screen, and now you can see that the controls for the target images are over right underneath where they should be. So I'm going to click on Move Left here, choose that, and then refresh. And now I've got her face in there. And when I click back up to the first video, you'll see that face definition has stayed there. And then I move to this one, and that face definition has stayed there. So now I've created two distinct face swap jobs in one batch. But before I run them, I do want to make some adjustments to, for example, this one, because these are both long videos. For this one, I'll set the start frame at the beginning, but then I'll end it right about here, set that as the end, go back to the first job, and do the same thing because there's not really a lot of activity on here. I'm going to set this one as the start, move about halfway, set as end, and now I can run this batch job. As always, you can check the progress in the logs. You'll see that it will do one job, and then it will process the other job, and both of the files will appear in your output folder. Now, within the batch job, it's going to be important that you go to your outputs folder to download them because you can only download one video at a time on this screen here. Again, you'll just click on the File tab and then open up the output folder, and you'll see the videos and all the images that have been processed to do the jobs here. And from there, you download what you want. Now, when you go to your output file after a job has been done, it's probably a good practice to click the refresh button just to make sure everything's there, but you also might have an appreciation for why they have the option to clear out the output folder after every run, because it can get cluttered up with a bunch of files, and there's not really a great thumbnail system to know exactly what you've done, so it's kind of a process of, well, I just download everything and see what I got. Here's the first result, and then here's the second result. Okay, now let's talk about multiple faces in one video. Let's start by dragging one in that has two people, and then we will choose the people we want to switch out. Just drop their faces in there one at a time. Let's maximize the screen and begin. The first thing we're going to do is to click Use Face from this frame. Now, what you may notice is that nothing appears up here like it did the first time because we're dealing with multiple faces here. We need to scroll down a little bit, and now we see it's detected the face, and there is actually a little face on the wall back there that it detects, so that's how accurate it is. So we're going to first switch out the guy face. We're going to select it here, and then I'm going to click on Use Selected Face. Okay, and now I'm going to click on the face that I want, and there it is. He's just been switched out. We can preview along the way just to make sure. This is actually when she leaves is when I'm going to actually end this. So I'm going to go ahead and set that endpoint right now. So now let's go back where she's in the picture. This time I'm going to click her face and click on Use Selected Face. And this is where I was talking about it gets kind of important where things are. If I move this to the left, for example, and then refreshed, now they've switched. So we definitely don't want that. We'll move this back where it was. We'll refresh. Now we have both faces defined properly, and we can click on Start. Now, if you're confused by any of that, just watch this again. It will click for you. The whole issue with the faces being aligned like this was my issue. When I finally got that, it started to work. Processing time does take notably longer when you're dealing with two faces and the restoration of all those faces, so that's to be expected. While that's rendering, let's take a peek at this advanced masking thing. I won't go too deep in it here. But when you scroll down to the bottom, I want to call attention to this masking engine here. It uses your choice of AI models to basically mask out specific objects based on text. Both of these models are pretty good, but if, for example, your subject had a cup in their hands, or you didn't want their hands in front of their face, or their hair in front of their face, or if they were eating a banana, and if you don't want the face that you're overlaying to cover those things, this basically creates a mask automatically based on what you type here. I love the obvious narrative here, even though I can't hear what they're saying. He's clearly going, well, you know, here's the deal. Here's how it's her problem. Here's how I've really tried and stepped up. And she's just not recognizing my contributions. And she's like, yeah, okay, I am out of here. And he's like, what? That's probably when he turns and goes, see what I'm dealing with? By the way, I downsized all these sample videos to a lower resolution just for the purposes of speed. But the opening of this video was done at a full HD resolution. So it's certainly capable of doing that. So now I also promised those of you who installed it locally to show you a little bit about how the live cam works. That's right, the ability to swap your face in real time with your webcam and even send that swapped video in real time down a virtual camera so you could pop on a Zoom or something like that with your face swap. But the frame rate's not that great, and I don't know that you're actually going to use it that way. But let's look at my local installation here, just in case you happen to have a local installation. There will be a tab here called Live Cam. I'm going to click it. I only have one camera installed, so I don't need to choose that. I'm going to go do a lower resolution 640 by 480 to maximize the potential frame rate here. And over here, we need to choose first the face that we want to swap in. So again, I'll drag in this face, go over to Live Cam, and click on Start. It will have to initialize the camera. It takes a second to turn on. And now down there, not in exactly real time, but it is a real-time face swap. The frame rate's not great, as you can see. The resolution's not that great because I've only got 640 by 480 going on. I've actually got this masking turned on, which is a great example to show you how that works. So here's a coffee mug and I put it in front of my face. Because of that masking, it still works. But if I was to turn this off and restart this, stop and then restart it, I'm not saying it won't work, but it does have a harder time with it. So now I'm going to move this up, and you can see like right up there, the bridge of my nose is kind of overlapping the cup a little bit. But when I have this on, it doesn't do that. Now, if you click forward stream to virtual camera, then any application you use that uses a virtual camera will see this as a potential output. So now if I'm in Zoom under video settings, you'll see swap face cam is one of the choices, and then I turn that on, and here I am in Zoom with this face. Now the resolution is not that great because I don't have any sort of face restoration turned on in Roop. I could stop this, go back to face swap, maybe click restore former, go back to live cam, start it again, and now we've got a sharper image. If I go to zoom now, you can see it's not nearly as pixelated. But the frame rate has dramatically decreased. Now, if you'd like to be able to do that, you do need a local installation, and the easiest way to do that by far is to use Pinocchio, which I've talked about on this channel a gazillion times, because it basically makes installation a few clicks away and creates individual environments so they don't conflict with one another, which can definitely happen with these types of applications. You can download it here at pinocchio.computer. It is available for Windows, it is available for Mac, and it is available for Linux. So just follow those download instructions. Once you get it downloaded and you are inside Pinocchio, if it's your first time, you won't have any of this stuff here, but you're going to go over here to Discover, which is where you'll find all kinds of apps that you can install. However, you're not going to find it here in this verified scripts section, at least not at this time. You're going to find it over in Community Scripts, and you can scroll down and you'll find it there. And you'll click on download and it will download everything you need, and then you'll be prompted to install it, and this may take several iterations while it downloads various files to make AI stuff works, but then you'll be ready to run it just as I showed it to you on this video. If these are the types of fun and creative tools you like to learn more about, then why not subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that already, because these are the types of things we talk about all the time.
I've been thinking about it. If you subscribe now, then I don't have any reason to follow you, to pursue you in any way. But if you don't, then, well, I mean, I've got to look for you. I've got to find you. And then I really don't have too much more of a choice but to